Hello there, right here we have a brand new snapshot. This is the newest 1.16 another update snapshot, which is 20W11A. With it comes a brand new enchantments, new blocks, which you can see in the background, and new uses for your hose, as well as a lot of bug fixes, including some major ones to do with redstone changes. Remember guys to go ahead and subscribe and join our snapshot testing stream, which will be right after this video when it goes live. We'll have a server for you guys to join as we test out the newest things and see what kind of craziness we can do with it. You can find all the information down below. Now let's get into all the crazy changes in this one snapshot. They came out with a brand new enchantment. This is Soul Speed, and it can be enchanted up to level 3. You can put this on your boots. This allows you to walk faster while on soul sand. So just put it on and look how fast I can walk on it. That is pretty crazy. Also, there's these particles that are coming out of the soul sand. It looks like little ghost faces, very similar to like the soul sand faces that you see in the texture. But by using this enchantment on your boots, while you walk on the soul sand, it will slowly degrade the boots. So look how much durability they already took. And you can only obtain this new enchantment by bartering with the pesky piglins. It looks like the speed with soul sand speed 3 is the same speed as walking normally on normal blocks. So it's like it completely removes the soul sand effect from the player. They also added gold into the nether dimension. This is what it looks like, the ore form, nether gold ore. It is exactly like the normal gold ore, what you find in the overworld, except this one you find in the nether dimension. So you can smelt it up like any other ore in a furnace. And it looks like you can pretty much find it anywhere in the nether. I found it down low. I also find it quite high here in the ceiling. And this was requested by somebody on Reddit that they should add gold into the nether. Because like piglins as well as zombified piglins have gold. And the main theme of this dimension is gold. So now we have like 3 different types of ores in the nether dimension. Quartz, gold, as well as ancient debris. There's a brand new block in the game, and this is something that generates in the warped forest. These are twisted vines. They grow out of the ground going upwards. Look very cool. So like in the crimson forest, we have the weeping vines which grow downwards. Here we have the twisted vines which grow upwards. Very, very cool. They add a lot of life here to this dimension. Let's see if we can go ahead and climb them. Let's get inside them and press spacebar. Yes, you can climb them. Nice. That is really cool. So they remind me a lot like the Mario vines, which you can climb up. So now the warped as well as crimson variations biomes have very similar things. Like we got 2 different types of fungus, 2 different types of roots, and also 2 different types of vines. One thing that the warped biomes still have, which is the sprouts. There's no like crimson variation for the sprouts. Now they did say that you can now use bone meal on the twisted vines. So we can bone meal those and they will grow. Holy muggers, that thing grew a lot with 1 bone meal. Here, we got a big open area. Wow. And you can bone meal this top piece? Yeah, I guess it like jumps 5 blocks at a time or 4 blocks. That's really impressive. So you can also bone meal the weeping vines. Let's go ahead and bone meal those. Okay, those grow, well, it's kind of random. They can grow a few blocks at a time. They grow downwards. Oh wow, that one grew a lot. They grow, I guess you grow any piece of it and it grows the bottom. Oh nice. So you can actually just keep bone mealing this and keep making a ladder downwards. You can do the same thing with these. Keep growing this. Oh wow, that's cool. So you can essentially like make a ladder above you by staying down here. And the weeping vines, it should grow on their own as well. So we press F3, you can see that their age is 16, and they're just like the weeping vines where when they get to a certain age, they will no longer grow any taller. It's definitely gonna be fun making some new farms out of these guys. They also say you can now bone meal kelp as well. I guess we need to have a water source on top of this. I'll just set blocks of water in here and see if it works. There's a kelp piece, and we can bone meal it. Yes, we can. That is very nice. Let's bone meal the bottom piece. Oh yeah, it can also grow multiple lengths at once. Hose now have some more uses. So now they're the proper tool for breaking stuff like hay bales. I got myself an efficiency 5 one. I gave myself haste 2. Let's see if anything is instant mine. Oh yeah, that looks instant. They're also a proper tool for target blocks as well as dried kelp. That's very nice. Shroom lights also been added. Try those. Wow, thing is so fast. As well as the nether warp block and the warped warp block. They're both able to be used by this. And it looks like all these blocks are pretty much instant mine with the hoe. That's really cool to see the hoe have more uses. So if you're building out of like some of these materials and you want to tear down something, you come in with the hoe. Of course, one of the few places that you'll see these type of blocks naturally is in the huge fungus, which consists of a lot of the warp blocks, also the shroom lights. Other stuff you won't find as much in natural form. They also fixed the armor, so the netherite stuff is right below the other stuff in the creative menu, as well as the tools. You see the netherite stuff is right here. In this snapshot, they also reintroduced the ability to place stuff on top of soul sand, as well as 8 layers of snow layers. So you can now put like doors on these, or rails, buttons. You can see they get placed on just fine. Same for like pressure plate, redstone dust, and those type of components. For quite a while you couldn't do this, and soul sand as well as the snow layers used to have this property. And on the Protect SMP server, as you guys know, we like to collect rare and discontinued blocks, as well as items and mobs. And since we've seen this was a problem, we went ahead and actually collected a bunch of blocks with different types of stuff on top of them, knowing that it would break in the future. So it's really cool to see that they fixed it once again. But oddly enough, in the past, you can do just 7 layers of snow, and you could still place like rails on top of those. So we actually have some of those collected on our server. Yeah, if you guys don't know about the Protect SMP server, it's the oldest vanilla survival server, and we never reset the map, so we collect a lot of rare and discontinued stuff that changes throughout the version. You can learn more about it down in the description. Now recently we actually made a display case where we have like doors sitting on top of hoppers, because in this version you can't do that, and it seems like they never changed it. You can put like rails and some things like pressure plates and stuff like buttons or torches or doors still can't place on top of these. So we have a bunch of those saved up on our server in case they don't ever fix it. They also changed it so that soul sand that has a minecart on top of it won't actually slow down the minecart. Now with the changes that they did to soul sand as well as snow layers throughout the versions, some versions mobs can't spawn on this, and in other versions they can. Same thing about snow layers. As far as I know, up to date mobs can spawn on soul sand but are unable to spawn on 8 layers of snow, but we'll be testing that during our snapshot testing stream. They also fixed a bug so that you can now use flame projectiles to light both campfires, there's a campfire, as well as TNT. Looks like there's some kind of visual bug there with the arrow. They also fixed some problems to do with bales not ringing when some projectiles would hit them, so now they should work with all projectiles. And oddly enough, the bale, even though it is kind of a redstone component, it is here in the decoration tab on the creative menu. They also fixed it so the projectiles that come from a gas as well as withers will not flicker like they used to and won't go invisible like they sometimes do. If you guys ever seen the collection that we have on the Protect SMP server, we have quite a few gas fireballs as well as wither skulls, which we got stuck, but they keep flickering and going invisible, so hopefully this will make it so in the future we can showcase them more easily. There was a problem to do with super flat worlds not saving the generation as actually being flat. They fixed a bug where zombies were being converted over into drowns, even if they had no AI tag. You're now once again able to summon in fireballs, and they won't need to have all those special properties just to be summoned in. If you guys didn't know, you can go ahead and push these by clicking on them, and then they'll go out and destroy stuff. Let's see if we can do the same thing with wither skulls. Oh yeah, you can. Nice. Very old bug. So glad that they fixed that. There was a recent problem with comparators not reading containers if there was a block between them. You can see this has now been fixed. Fossils as being a structure that can be located. So if we do locate, then we do nether fossil, it'll actually locate the nearest nether fossil. We can click that and then teleport there. It's right here. Oh, there you can see part of it. Yeah, they can be inside of walls and stuff. There's a problem to do with the piglins that had crossbows. When they're trying to attack something, they wouldn't always get very close and actually attack it. This is something that they have addressed. They fixed a crash which would occur if players would try to summon in a hoglin with special attributes. They fixed a bug where you can teleport really high up in the world and crash your Minecraft server. They fixed a problem with piglins not looking at their targets when they're trying to kill them, as well as hoglins. If a piglin would have a bow, it would not really attack the enemy that it's trying to go after, instead of just kind of follow it. They went ahead and fixed this problem. If you would happen to have mob griefing turned on, the piglins would infinitely drop gold, and they went ahead and actually fixed this. If a piglin would happen to pick up some gold armor, and then they would be converted, they will now keep the armor that they had on them. So anything that they pick up of yours that's also gold, they will also keep on them. And if they pick up something, they will also have persistence required, so they won't be able to despawn. There was a problem to do with some Z fighting occurring with a bamboo inside of a flower pot, and they went ahead and removed that. Now hoglins were afraid of warped fungus, but they weren't afraid of warped fungus in the pot, and they went ahead and changed this. They also added a sound for climbing the weeping vines. They also changed weeping obsidian so it's no longer be able to be moved with pistons. This is something I predicted would occur, and that's why I didn't use weeping obsidian in the different areas where I was using the netherite blocks or the ancient debris blocks. And that was very similar to obsidian. They also made it so that if any piglin would happen to pick up gold and would be killed while holding that gold, they will also drop it. That way you can actually get it back, but you won't be able to like duplicate their bartering system like we showed in the past. They also fixed it so that crying obsidian can only be collected as a block item if you use a pick like diamond or higher. And they also fixed it so that crying obsidian can no longer be destroyed by the ender dragon like I showed in my previous video. They also changed it so that baby hoglings will also drop XPs as well as loot. This is one of the few circumstances where a mob that could grow up can still drop loot as well as XPs. Baby piglins pretty much can pick up any item, but they were picking up soul torches, which didn't make a lot of sense since they're supposed to be afraid of soul fire, soul torch, as well as solar lanterns. So they now change it so babies will no longer pick them up. They also fixed a problem if piglins would happen to pick up gold ingots and then get converted over into the zombified piglins. They would not be dropping their gold, or they would not be giving you any item. So they now fix it so you at least get the item or you get the gold. They also fixed a couple of death messages, including falling off a trapdoor as well as falling off a scaffolding. Now those names will actually come up when you fall off that type of block. There was a bug that came out recently where you couldn't actually modify names in the anvil, and now it works once again. They fixed that problem that I showed to do with fire. When you'd break it, it would produce particles and have like a breaking block animation. They also added a noise to do with when using the smithing table. There was a recent problem to do with tridents when thrown would disappear when hitting a mob or entity. And they went ahead and fixed that. There was also a problem that ender pearls weren't working with gateway portals, which just recently came up, and they went ahead and fixed that bug as well. They also added so it's possible to make a piglin left-handed by using the summoning command. A snapshot that was packed full of a lot of different changes. Now they did say they're going to do major changes to the redstone aspect of the game. They came out saying that they want to really synchronize the mechanics of redstone between the Bedrock edition as well as the Java edition. If you guys watch my channel, you guys are probably well aware of all the craziness that is in the Java redstone and weird quirks and stuff. And they did say that they're going to try to streamline this so that anybody who's new to redstone doesn't get confused by these weird mechanics. Now overall, I think this is going to be probably the best thing for the game, because I know currently there's a lot of people that are really scared of redstone. They don't understand all the weirdness to it. This will allow pretty much anybody to be able to do redstone and understand what's going on. And that's what my whole YouTube channel is about, is trying to explain the weirdness of Minecraft in an easy to understand way. Now this does also mean that we're going to probably lose some very well used mechanics. Maybe we'll lose quasi connectivity in pistons, but we'll probably get it back in a special type of piston or something similar. This way it's easy to understand what's going on with a piston, and by having a separate block, which will make it easier to understand what's going on with that other block. Overall, this is going to be a major change to redstone, and there's so many different cases in which cool mechanics that have to do with redstone get used every day. But by making it consistent, overall, it's going to be a lot more fun for people to kind of diagnose redstone and fix any problems that they're having. Now, what we don't want to see, obviously, for those that use redstone, we don't want to lose stuff like quasi connectivity altogether. We don't want to lose like the 2 game tick pulsing of pistons, making them drop their block. If they want to kind of like make an easy way for new people to understand how to use these mechanics, that's fine, but we don't want to lose those mechanics. One of the things I actually suggested to the developers to kind of get people on board with like pistons and redstone is allow it so that players can actually move blocks with their player. Like by pulling down a special key, you can pull a block closer to yourself, or push a block one farther from yourself, or pull it up or pull it down. This would also help in survival builds. Like you could put in an observer facing one direction, and then you could pull it over here and make it fit into a tighter spot which you normally couldn't place a block into. Overall, I think this would really change the game of Minecraft as well, and make people not so afraid of like redstone, especially the main thing in redstone, which is pistons, because they move blocks. So be aware that this is coming out in the snapshots, so make sure to test a lot of your redstone components and see if there's anything that changed. If you guys do know something that changed, let me know down in the comments. Overall, a very nice snapshot where they did a lot of bug fixes as well as a couple new features. And remember guys, after this video, you guys can come join us during our testing of the snapshot. Hop onto our server here, mess around with the new mechanics. You can find all the information about the server on my Twitch channel, or by joining our Discord. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.